Hey Mixers, welcome back into another WNBA player props video. I'm filming this during the Los Angeles Sparks and Portland Fire game. There's about 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, tied at 87-87. It looked like NECA just went down, so that's unfortunate. If hopefully it's nothing serious, but we do have some cash to give away from today because we already got a full sweep on our best bets. It's just a mini sweep because it's just two. But because of that, everybody gets into the wheel and we got some cash to give away. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll review our picks and we have one more pick tonight. And then we'll get into some picks for Monday. All right, let's go ahead and spin that wheel. Everybody gets on the wheel when we have a full sweep, even if we only have two picks. Best bets, excuse me. Looks like we have Jay Zilla. He said NECA and Kelsey over. Let's get it. And that is what happened. And so please reach out to me at elixirmixersllc@gmail.com and I will get that to you over the next few days. Usually on weekdays, I'll do it during my lunch. So you'll probably get it Monday around lunchtime if you email me before that. All right, so far we did hit the money line in the first game. We hit the total. We did not hit the spread. Unfortunately, the one thing I told you I was going to end up betting on for myself privately. It wasn't a channel pick, but I did bet on it on my own, and that did not come through. Indiana Fever couldn't really keep it close there at the end. They lost by 8. The Sparks and Fire game right now is tracking to the over. It looks like both teams are going to go over 90. And then I don't know if the Sparks will pull out the win or not. Obviously, the Portland Fire are playing at home, so they do have the edge, I guess, in that regard. Our two best bets already hit. So Kelsey Mitchell over 22.5 points. She had 37. And NECA over 8.5 rebounds. She had 10. And then our next lean, it's just a lean, but it's Kayla Thornton over 8.5 points that is still left to play. Now, one thing I want to mention to you guys is I do have two football videos out for week one. I have a week one sides, totals, and spreads video and a week one player props video that are already up that there are cash prize giveaways for, and they probably only have like 0 or maybe 1 or 2 comments. So if you don't want to go up on the wheel against 70 other people, go check out those football videos. Leave me a little comment, help me get some more eyeballs on those videos. And your reward is you're basically going to go 50-50 with somebody else if your bets can hit, if you can just choose two of those picks that hit, or if we have a full sweep, obviously. So yeah, rather than going up against 70 other people, go up against 2 or 3 other people. Makes sense to me. All right, I didn't give you any game bets officially. And then for tomorrow for the Aces Dream, they've seen each other once this year. The game total played to 169, and Ryan Howard was not playing. The Aces won by 1 point in that game, and it was in Atlanta. The Aces also swept the Dream last season. They won all 3 head-to-head matchups. Pow Pow should still be out. Cheyenne Parker Tyus should also still be out for the Aces. This game has a total right now of 183.5, but it's not like it wasn't official when I started making this video because it's not available to bet yet on the site that I was looking at. Lately, the Aces have been top 5 in offensive rating, but they've slipped out of the top 5 in defensive rating and pace. Whereas the Dream are top 5 in offensive rating, defensive rating, and pace. Like they are rolling. They're on like a 5 or 6 game win streak now. But I think this could be a letdown spot for the Dream if they're not careful. So the Aces are coming off a bad loss to the Sky, and the Dream are rolling on like a 5 game win streak. So this is a classic letdown spot where the Aces pull out a win. But I'm going to say that the Dream continue to roll here because I just think some of the Aces players have tough matchups. And so if Asia can't put up 30 plus points, then I don't know how the Aces can outscore the Dream here. That's why I'm looking at it this way. So the trends are that the Aces are 6-4 ATS in their last 10. They are 2-0 ATS as an away dog, but they're only a dog of 1.5, so just keep that in mind. The Aces are over in 4 out of their last 6 games. They're over this number in 4 out of their last 8 away games, so 50%. And then the Dream, meanwhile, are 3-7 ATS in their last 7 at home, their last 10, sorry. And then they're over in 9 out of the last 10 home games over the total. And they're over this total in the last 5 out of 6 games. So that is why I'm leaning to the over. However, I do think it could play to a sneaky under. So I would not be playing the total in this game. And then as far as the side goes, obviously you're going to have to like choose a side basically. But I think either team has a good chance to win. I'm going to lean with the home team to continue to roll. They're on a big win streak. I'm thinking that doesn't come to an end here. All right, the Storm and the Liberty, they have seen each other once this season already. They played to 187, and Seattle won that game in Seattle. Stewie was not playing, Satu Sabli was not playing, Easy Mabagor was not playing. Stewie will be playing for this game. Satu Sabli should be out still, and then I'm not sure if we're gonna ever see her again. And then Leonie Fiebitz should still be out. They are giving us a 180.5 number, a 9.5 point spread. Lately, both of these teams have dropped to bottom 5 in the WNBA for defensive rating. So they're 14th and 13th in defensive rating. There should be a ton of points scored in this game. This should be a good game for props, but I didn't see a lot that I liked. I saw a few, but I did not see a ton. So the trends are that Seattle is 5-1 ATS in their last 6 away games. They're 7-3 over in the last 10 away games. They're over 180.5 in 5 out of the last 6 games. The Liberty, 2-8 ATS in the last 10, but they're 6-4 ATS in the last 10 at home. They're 9-1 to the over in the last 10, but only 4-6 to the over at home. And then they're over 180.5 in the last 7 games in a row. The Liberty are 4-5 ATS when they are a favorite of 9.5 or more. So this should, like, the Liberty play to a slower games and cover more when they're at home. But Seattle has just been hot on the road lately, and so I don't really think that comes to an end here. Like, it wouldn't fully surprise me if the Storm just won this game. Like, they won by 11 the last time they played, and I realized that was in Seattle and this is in New York. And so that's why I am giving New York the lean on the win, but I don't think they win. Like, they're not going to give a 20-point swing, even with Stewie on the court. Like, yeah, Stewie can score 20 points by herself, but that's going to take production away from those people who did score points when she was gone. So I don't think it's a 20-point swing. I think Seattle can cover this spread, and that would probably be my favorite look in this game. And I think that Seattle can also push the total over as well. All right, the Mercury and the Sky. So this is going to divide some people because Kelsey Plum has been announced, obviously, as a new player for the Mercury. We don't know if she's going to play in this game. I don't know if Azure Ray is going to play in this game. She's still listed as out as of right now. They've played twice already, and the Sky won once, the most recent one, in a low scoring game. And then the Phoenix Mercury won one of those games at home. They were both in Arizona in a high scoring game. So if this game is high scoring, that favors the Mercury, especially because they're on the road. And so I do think it's going to be a high scoring game, over 177.5. And I do think the Mercury win the game. We're not getting any plus money on the money line, but if you see plus money for the Mercury, I'm going to take that. The plus 1.5, I don't think there's too much value there. But if I see some plus money on the money line, I will be taking it. I do think it pushes over. The offensive rating for the Mercury is like bottom 5 in the WNBA. But if they add Kelsey Plum, obviously that's going to shoot up significantly. Their defensive rating is third. Meanwhile, the Sky's defensive rating is second. So both of these teams have actually been playing best defense in the WNBA in the last 5 games, which is kind of weird to think about, but that's just that the stats don't lie. That is what the stats have said. The trends are Phoenix is 6-2 ATS in their last 8 away games, and they're 4-0 in their last 4 overall, home and away. Phoenix is 5-3 over in the last 8, but 2-8 in the last 10 away games. Phoenix is over 177.5 in 5 of 8, but only 2 of the last 10 away games. So it's leading you to an under, but I think that the books have already accounted for the lower number. Like, I think we would get like a 185 in this game normally, but the books have accounted for these trends, so they're giving us 177. And I do think it lands somewhere in the 181, 183-ish range. All right, Chicago, 7-0 ATS in their last 7 games, 8-2 ATS in the last 10 at home. And Chicago's 6-3 ATS in the last 10 at home as a favorite. They're 7-3 to the over in the last 10, and same with the last 10 at home. They're over 177.5 in 8 out of the last 10, and 7 out of the last 10 at home. So the Sky are going to score. I don't think the Mercury are going to be able to stop that, even though they've been playing good defense. And then I think the Mercury are an offensive powerhouse waiting to explode. Even if Kelsey Plum does not play in this game, it doesn't matter. They know that Kelsey Plum is coming. So they are going to be pushing hard to see if they can get that last playoff spot. I do not think they can, but I think that this is a Mercury win. I think they win big, even. Like maybe we could consider an alt line on the spread for the Mercury winning by like 5+ or something like that and get some plus money. I might end up exploring an option like that. All right, Jonquel Jones over 13.5 points is my first best bet for you. I know she's not reliable. I get it. She could end up taking like 6 shots and have a bad game. Like, I understand. It doesn't look sexy, but that's what I'm going to do. All the other Liberty players are getting really high lines and not Jonquel Jones in a matchup that should push really high. So over 67% in the last 21 games. She had 26 in the head-to-head against the Storm when Stewie was not playing. Satu also was not playing. Maureen Johannes was also not playing. So she's not going to score 26 points again, but I think she can get us 14. She has a really good shot chart above the break. I think she gets like two or three threes here, and then we just need to get a few more regular shots, and then we've got this. All right, the next one is Dominic Malonga over 25.5 PRA in that same game. She's over in 57% of the last 21 games, but that is better recently. She does not have a good shot chart. I will show you in the deep dive. She does not have a good shot chart, but she's had success recently against other strong front courts. So if you look at the front courts that she's faced recently, the Atlanta Dream twice, she's been over both times. In fact, all 3 times that she's played the Dream recently, she's been over. She played the Fever, has to go up against Aaliyah Boston there. She went up against the Mystics, who are one of the strongest front courts in the WNBA, and she was able to go over there as well. So I don't really think that just because she has a bad matchup, we should be counting her out. It's more of a usage play. You know, she's going to have a ton of usage. She's going to get some shots up. She's going to get some free throws, so she'll get herself to the line. She's going to get her rebounds. And then I really like her assists. So I'll show you in the deep dive. She did have 32 in the head-to-head earlier this season, but keep in mind Stewie wasn't playing, who is a big defensive piece in the red zone, or not the red zone, sorry, thinking about football, the restricted area and the paint. All right, my thumbnail bet is Alyssa Thomas over 14.5 points. She's over in 69% of games this season. That goes up to 100% of away games without Monique Akomakani. She's over in 80% of overall games without Monique Akomakani, home and away. So I think she is set up here to have a pretty good game. She went over 20 plus in a lot of these games, 19 plus in over half of them. So these are the away games that's on the screen. So yeah, she had 17 and 11 in the 2 head-to-heads. Both of those were at home. So she should score 4 to 5 more points because it's an away game. So that puts her at like 16 to 23 points. And so I really like this. If Kelsey Plum plays, she might not have as much offensive output, but I don't think Plum will be playing. All right, these are the 3 best bets. Just let me know if you want to get in for that cash prize giveaway, obviously, where you want to be on the overs and the unders. Like if you want to fade me, make that clear. If you want to ride with 2 of these, just let me know which 2. And we are going to jump into our Props Madness deep dive as per usual. I haven't mentioned this in a while, so you can get 25% off your first month of Props Madness with the code in the mix if you want your own account. And that will apply the discount if you purchase the whole year up front. Props Madness, I think, is $25 a month now. It used to be 20. I think now it's 25. Maybe it's still 20. But it is incredible value, in my opinion, for anyone who does want to do their own research. And for everyone who doesn't want to do their own research, that's why you have me. Let's get into it. Really quickly, before we jump into Props Madness, I forgot to mention on the bets review screen that we are now 96 and 97 on our best bets. So we're as close as we could possibly be to getting over that 50% hump. We're at 49.74%. Obviously, a bad day could bring us down, clearly. But like I promised you at the beginning of the season, I would do my best to drag us over that 50% mark. And if we can get over the 54% mark, which is the target, always the target, because if you're paying juice on props, you need to be profitable at least 54% of the time if you're paying juice on these normal lines in order to be profitable. If you're betting on Novig, which I do bet on Novig quite a lot, so I make my own line for plus 100. That way I get plus 100. The person on the other side of the bet gets plus 100. It's fair. And that way I don't have to pay any juice. So I'm not paying a lot of juice. But most people are, paying some juice anyways. So we want to get over that 54% if we can. I don't think there's enough time in the season for us to do that, but we can at least get over that 50% mark. And I'm going to do my very best to get us there. All right, you guys. So jumping into the Storm at the Liberty. We'll take a look at Brianna Stewart first. She missed the last head-to-head, so she does not have any head-to-heads this year. Last year, obviously, the Seattle Storm were a different team, but Brianna Stewart cleared this line in only 2 out of 6 games last year as well. At home, she has been scoring a little bit less, so 43% in home games versus 50% on the road. Her shot chart is okay. She has been taking a couple three-pointers lately, so that's why it's showing up green here, but she normally doesn't do that and scores primarily in the restricted area and in the paint. And that's where they've got, Easy Mabagor, Dom Malonga, sometimes Awafam. So I think that area of the court is going to be pretty clogged up. I think a lot of the scoring is going to be done from above the break on both sides of the ball. Like, obviously, there's going to be paint points scored and whatnot, and I think Brianna Stewart's going to get hers. I just don't think that this is a smash spot for her. And so I don't want to go in on an extremely high line in a game where I don't think that it's like a smash play, if that makes sense. The assists, I definitely wouldn't touch. And then the rebounds, she does rebound slightly better at home. 64% of the time she's over this line. And there is no head-to-head data. Now, the Seattle Storm were allowing quite a few rebounds, but they are starting to clean that up a little bit. And so they're not allowing quite as many rebounds as they used to. They are still allowing some offensive rebounds, but they basically aren't allowing a ton of defensive rebounds, which is great because they're so good at getting those offensive rebounds themselves. So I'm gonna have to lean over on the 8.5 rebounds for Brianna Stewart, but I don't think it's good enough to play for me. The threes I don't want to take. I can't believe it's this heavily juiced for her to get a three, but she has been shooting them lately, even though it's not something she normally would do. So I'm passing on Brianna Stewart today. Sabrina Ionescu, 19.5 points. Has a great shot chart above the break, and that is what we're kind of expecting her to do. She only had 14 in the earlier head-to-head, but that was before she really got rolling. And so I would probably lean to the over here, although just keep in mind that Maureen Johannes did play in the last game, and so she is now healthy. And with Maureen Johannes, once she works herself up to normal game minutes, that is going to steal some three-point shooting from Sabrina. And Sabrina's going to focus a little bit more on the assisting and rebounding than she has been on the points lately. So she's been great. Don't get me wrong. She's been taking 19 shots, 7, 16, 11, 25. So she's most likely going to slow down and start taking 14 to 16 shots a game instead of like 20 plus with some of that depth back with Maureen Johannes. And then as Leonie Fibic gets healthy, as Satu gets healthy, if Satu's even going to play another game this season, who knows? She's been out with a concussion for like a couple of months now. So I don't know if she is coming back. But I will not be playing Sabrina's points. The assists at 5.5, I don't think I'm going to be playing that either. The rebounds at 4.5, I'm not going to play that either. But I lean to the over. She's a good rebounder. We played it 4 flat in this Aces game. She did not get there. She had 7 against the Mercury, which is a tough team to rebound against. And so is the Seattle Storm. So I just think if you're going to take rebounds, you might as well take Stewie over Sabrina. So I don't think anything jumps out at me for Sabrina. So far, Stewie's rebounds is the best play on the Liberty, in my opinion. We already talked about Jonquel Jones' points, so we're already in on that. I'm not going to go through it again. Her assists, I would lean to the over. She's been smashing it lately. And then her rebounds, 9.5. I guess I would have to lean to the over because she does rebound better at home, 57% of the time. But I just think there's going to be too many big bodies trying to get these rebounds. And I don't know who's going to come up with them, but I still think Stewie's rebounds are a little bit better at 8.5. So I still like Stewie's rebounds, but I like Jonquel Jones' points the best in this one. Over 2.5 first quarter points for Jonquel Jones seems interesting to me. She's been playing 7, 6, 6, 7, 2 minutes in this game with the Sparks, where she got a couple fouls in the first minute of the game, if you guys remember that. She does get in foul trouble sometimes, and that is the big concern with her in general. But she has a great shot chart above the break here. So I think points is the best play for her, and then rebounds for Stewie. On the Seattle Storm side of the ball, I don't know what to do because with Easy Magbagor coming back, it steals just a tiny bit of usage from Dom, from Awa Fam, from Flage, just a tiny bit. It just shaves off a tiny bit, and then depending on their shooting percentage, that's enough for them to just not clear their line. So we're now getting another high line for Natisha Heidemann because she's crushed 2 games in a row, taking 19 shots and 20 shots. So she might be going back into beast mode, Natisha Heidemann, like from earlier in the season, but she did only have 11 in a previous head-to-head earlier this year where she shot horribly. So I'm not going to play her points over. I'm not going to play her assists over. The rebounds, I would probably lean over just because she's been smashing it. But head-to-head, she had 0. So it's not like a smash play or anything, but I guess I'd lean over. Same with the books. So yeah, I'm off Natisha Heidemann as well. Dom Malanga, we are going to be in on for the PRA. I just wanted to show you the chart here. So she doesn't have the best shot chart. They rank 4th against the restricted area right now. And so that's not necessarily good for her. Head to head, though, she did have 20, and that is in a home game. So at home, she averages 19.4 points. On the road, she's averaging 14.1 points. So she's averaging 5 more points at home, and she had 20 points. So if she scores 5 less, that would be 15. That's right where this line is set. Maybe she gets a couple lucky free throws. I don't know. But I'm going to just have to lean over on the full PRA. The assists look really good, like lighting up like a Christmas tree. She assists to the 3-point line for the most part. She should get 2 assists here. I thought about just giving you the over 1.5 assists, but I decided to just include everything with the PRA. And then her rebounding, she hit 10 in the head-to-head earlier. And she rebounds a little bit better at home, but about the same. So 55% versus 54%. So I don't think that's too much of a big difference there. And that's why I just liked the full PRA. Flage's points line is creeping up to 14, which is where it should be. The book should be giving us the line at 14, 14 and a half, like right around there. She had 28 points against them the last time they played. Easy Magbagor did not play. Jordan Horston didn't play, but all the guards were still there. Like, not all the guards, but Natisha Heidemann was still there. So I don't think that she'll have another bad game against the Liberty. They're a really good matchup. She missed against really tough matchups here. So the Dream twice, the Mystics, and other than that, besides these 2 easy matchups that she missed against, she's been nailing it. So I really think that I would lean to the over. But as I promised, I will not be on Flage because she did miss, and I will see if she can get back on track against the Liberty. This should be a get-right game for her. And if so, then maybe we can continue to ride her in the future. And if not, it's just going to be the Natisha Heidemann show for the rest of the year. So maybe they're showing off Natisha Heidemann for possibly trading her, but I think they're going to hold on to her. I guess we'll just see whatever happens in the draft and how they choose to develop the team. But I'm going to go lean over on Flage. On her assists, I'd lean over. On the rebounds, I'm going to not play those at all. And I guess I'd lean over. She had 9 in the previous head-to-head, but I think the rebounds are a little not reliable. So let's see if the points assist line looks good. Honestly, it doesn't. So I just think I'd lean over on the points and over on the assists, but it doesn't look good enough to play. And I did say that I'd back off of her if she missed in that Atlanta Dream game, and she did. So Awa Fam has a really good shot chart, and I think this could be a big game for her. But the problem with her is that she just doesn't take enough shots. So if she would take more shots, then she could have bad efficiency and still go over this number. But as it is right now, she's only taking 4 shots, 13, 9, 9, 6, 15. So like all over the place. And she relies usually on good efficiency to get over her line. She is over the line 50% at home, 38.5% away. So much better home player. The assists look pretty good on the over, but they're heavily, heavily juiced. The rebounds look decent on the over, but she did only have exactly 6 in that last head-to-head, and that was without Easy Magbagor. So I don't know if with Easy on the team if that's going to affect her rebounding. I mean, it is going to affect her rebounding, but I don't know how much. So I don't know. Even the threes at plus 118, she only took 3 attempts in that last game. I think she normally is going to take 5 or 6. And I think in this game where she has a good matchup, she's going to take 5 or 6 threes. And I think she has a good chance of hitting 2. So I think this is the best play on the board for the Storm so far is Awa Fam over the 1.5 3-pointers made. for plus 118. You could also go in on the three pointers attempted if we get that line tomorrow, but we're obviously not getting that line right now. All right, on the bench, we're looking at Maureen Johannes here. She only played 14 minutes. So it's probably going to take her a few games to work back up to her normal minutes. Pauline Astier got a minute's cut. She only played 21. Well, I guess she's only been playing like 15 to 20 minutes in the last couple of games. But she went bonkers in this Aces game. And so I don't think it's something I need to be playing here. And then I do think that Jade Melbourne is going to continue to be an auto fade for me, but I don't think I can fade it because we're going to get the line at a number that's too low to fade. All right, Aces Dream. I like Alicia Gray on the points. Head to head, she did have 25 in a game earlier this season. That was a game with no Ryan Howard and no Brianna Jones. So we can't just take what she did and say she's going to repeat that. But at home, she does go over 57% of the time. If they're losing, I've mentioned this before that she is the best at getting those BS fouls. So late in the game, especially. So I would lean over on Alicia Gray more than probably any other player on the Dream on the points. Except, and we'll talk about the others. So I guess I'll leave my advice till we get to them. I don't want to take the assists and the rebounds, which has basically been the case all season long. It's just not something I'm interested in because she has not been doing it this year. Although she did have 10 rebounds and assists against this Aces team earlier in the year. But again, no Ryan Howard, who is a good assister and rebounder, and no Brianna Jones, who is a very good rebounder. So with those players on the court, that might be a little bit of a different story, and Alicia can focus on the points. Over 4.5 quarter one points, I don't think that needs to be played, a little bit risky. And then the first half points, I think you could play that. I mean, she's over in the first half 64% of the time at home. So I don't hate that at all, but I think you could just go full game and also be fine. All right, Ryan Howard has been in this shooting slump. I brought it up last time, and I was scared to fade it because she had already had two really good games against the Seattle Storm. And so I was scared to fade it in that Storm game, but we should have. And then against the Aces, she hasn't played them this year. But going back to previous years, her two most recent head-to-heads were great. And then before that, she was right at this line. So she should have a good matchup. Lately, the Aces have not been allowing threes, and lately, that's all Ryan Howard's been doing is shooting threes. And if they don't go in, she has a bad game. And I don't know if she's going to pick up and take any other shots. I'm certainly not betting the over here. I think you could consider betting the under. Like I said, I feel bad missing out on cashing all of this. So I think you could bet the under. But I think this is a spot where she could have a bounce back game because I think that Angel's going to struggle. I think the front court is going to struggle going up against Asia and Nalissa Smith. So because of the front court struggles, maybe the back court ends up doing all the scoring. And if that's the case, then Ryan Howard might have a good game. All right, the RA looks good for Ryan Howard, but something I've pointed out in the past is if she's going to go over her RA, then she's not going to go over her points. So lately she's been going over her RA and she's not been going over her points. And then when she was going over her points, she wasn't going over her RA as often. So I think the safer thing is if you want an over on Ryan Howard is to bet the over on the RA. And then if you want an under, I think the points, but I don't think it's safe. All right, Angel Reese, 15.5 points. Last time she only had 9. She had a couple of fouls here, but she shot 1 for 8, which she has been shooting much better in this most recent stretch. Anywhere between 40 to 50% for the most part. And so I just think she's going to struggle. Like going up against Asia's tough. And I'm not saying she can't do it. She'll probably get plenty of fouls. But it's a big number. She's now splitting time with Brianna Jones down low. Brianna Jones is a good home player, especially. If you look at last year, her and Griner had crazy home and away splits when Brianna Jones was sharing the court with Griner. And so now I expect that to be kind of similar with Angel, where she's going to have really good home games. And then in away games, maybe Angel is going to be asked to pick up some more of that scoring. Although Angel does score really good at home this season, but most of that was with no Brianna Jones. She's been good with Brianna Jones since she's been back. Like 20 plus points in 3 out of the 4 games. So it's just not the best spot for her. She head to head had a really bad game. And so it's not something I want to go in on. All right, the assists I'm not going in on. And then the rebounds, she did only have 8 against them last time. But I think if you want to go in on somebody if you want to go on Angel for something, then the assists is, or sorry, the rebounds are going to be the better choice. But she doesn't rebound as well at home because she usually like scores more at home, and so there aren't the rebounds to get. All right, Jordan Canada. I actually like her over on the points in this game, but I don't know if I'm brave enough to play it because she's only taking like 5 or 6 shots. And with 5 or 6 shots, that's just not enough volume to get over this number unless she just gets lucky or gets, some fouls. But I like Jordan Canada because I think in the Aces game, like in the Aces matchup, she's just going to have a good, like, mid range scoring game. That's what I think. And she did have 11 in the head to head recently, but on 8 shots, and she's only been taking 5 or 6 lately. So it's too dangerous for me. The assists, the books are leaning under, heavily under, and I agree. She only had 5 in the most recent, and they are ranked number 4 against assists allowed right now. The Aces are. So they're forcing people to create their own shot, which is something Jordan can do. And so that's why I like her on the points. All right. Asia, I like her on the points over 26.5. Head to head, she only had 20, and they won that game by 1, so it was a close game. She shot 6 for 12, just didn't take a ton of shots. She did have 5 fouls, but she did still play 31 minutes. She has a great shot chart, so I just don't understand why we wouldn't really take Asia here. Maybe you can go in on a combined Asia Elisa Gray line for like 45 points combined or something like that, and maybe that is something you could go in on. I'm not going to do that. I might go in on Alicia's points. I'm not sure. And then on Asia's points, the reason I don't touch Asia at all is because she has to have a monster game to go over this number because it's so high. And she does have a lot of monster games, but there's so many ways that this can fail. Like she could just have a regular game and not go over this line. Like she has to take 20 plus shots or get like 10 plus free throws to go over this line. And even though she's been doing it, it's not going to happen every single time. So, but I like it. I like it on the over. I'm leaning over. She's been assisting a lot lately. I don't think I'd be playing this against the Dream. They're number 1 against assists allowed. I don't think this is going to be a big assisting game for either side. The rebounds, I guess I'd lean over. She did not clear it the last time they played. She only had 6. When Asia gets in scoring mode, she doesn't rebound and assist as much. But Nalissa Smith isn't playing full minutes, isn't rebounding as well in away games. So I think I have to lean over on the Asia rebounds. If you want just the full PRA at 39.5, I think anything under 40 is pretty good for Asia Wilson. You just have to count on her having that big monster game. So there can't be a blowout. She has to be able to get her free throws, and she's going to have to take 15 to 20 shots. So if any one of those things doesn't happen, then she doesn't hit her points line. I do like playing Asia in a first half points line. I do that a lot, but 13.5 is a lot to ask. But she clears it 58% of the time at home, uh, away 47% of the time, so not too bad. And head to head, she did have 14, so it's not something I love. But if I go in on Asia, it's usually a first half play or like a first quarter play. All right, Jackie Young, 19.5 points. She had 0 against this Atlanta Dream team the last time they played, and we took her in this game. It was probably like 16.5 points, and we took her, and she had 0. She shot 0 for 12, 0 for 5 from 3. Kennedy Carter was playing, and if you don't remember me showing you this in previous videos, without Kennedy Carter, at home, Jackie Young's been over 67% of the time, away 43% of the time. So, like, she's been having really good games with Kennedy gone. And this is not a game where I feel like I need to take her. She had 0 head to head. And if Ryan Howard wasn't even playing in that game. Now Ryan Howard is playing and is a better defender than Alicia Gray or Jordan Canada, whoever was guarding her before. So I think it could be tough for Jackie, and which means that Asia's going to score even more. That's why I like Asia on the over, because I kind of like Jackie on the under. Assist-wise, we know that Jackie Young assists better in away games. She just missed it in the Sky game, which she should have hit it against them, in my opinion. And now she's going up against the number 1 team against assists allowed in the Atlanta Dream right now over the last 5 games. And so I don't really think I'm going to be playing it, but I think I would lean over just because in away games she's been a crazy assister. The rebounds, I'm going to lean over at 3.5. I don't mind that as a play. She had 7 in the previous head-to-head. Remember, Ryan Howard was not on the court, The threes at plus 158 for 2.5 plus threes. I don't think I'll be taking that. So yeah, I won't have anything on Jackie. The thing I like the most is I'm leaning over on the assists, under on the points. Chelsea Gray, 12.5 points. She had 21 against this team, but shot 5 for 8 from three, so that's not going to happen every single time. She also took 13 shots, which she normally does not do. So she's probably going to take somewhere around 10 shots. And I think that the 12.5 line is low enough that she probably will go over. So I'm going to lean over on the Chelsea Gray points. She's about the same home and away, which is not great on either one because she's not the primary scorer. But in away games, if she has the hot hand, they're going to let her shoot. Her assists are also set at 6.5, and I just don't like it as much. So I'm not taking it. Cheyenne Parker Tyus is still going to be out. Nalissa Smith, I kind of like her on the over. But like I said, she did play 31 minutes in that last game. So I don't know if that's going to hold consistent for this next one. In away games, she's over 50% of the time. I like the 10.5 number. The rebounds, she is better, much better at home on the rebounds. But 5.5 isn't a lot. The PR is 15.5. So if you like the combo line, they are giving you 1 point of value here, kind of, because the points line is a little bit like it's bumped up to 10 from 9.5. But some books also have it at 10.5. So I think it's fair, and I think the combo line is giving you 1 point of value if you want to go ahead and take that. She's over 62% of the time at home, but only 56% in away games. But I do think that Nalissa Smith is going to need to do something in this one because I think the guards are going to have a hard time. All right. Naz Hillman, I'm not really interested in. She did have a monster game in that last one. Brianna Jones also had a pretty good game. I don't know that I'll be going back to either one of these. I need to see the numbers. And then I don't have any interest really in Dana Evans or Jewel Lloyd or Steph Talbot. Sorry. Yeah. This could end up being a sneaky under, you guys, because this might be a tougher game than we think. And that means rebounds. So Asia Wilson over the 9.5 rebounds, Ryan Howard over 3.5 rebounds, and then Angel Reese over her rebounds. Those might be the best plays in this matchup. All right, moving on to the Mercury and the Sky. Sydney Taylor, 17.5 points. That's where she's listed. Head to head, she had 16 and 5, but she only played 7 minutes in this game and 23 minutes in this game. And so I guess I'd lean to the over. They aren't giving up a ton of free throws, but yeah, I'm going to have to lean to the over. She should have a good day shooting from three. So I'll lean over on that. I'm probably going to end up on Sydney Taylor field goals attempted. That's what I usually play on her. And the threes, she has been taking like over 6 consistently. So I actually think the 3-pointers attempted line might be 7.5 in this game. And if that's the case, that's a little bit too high for my blood. And we'll see what the field goals attempted line is. So I might end up coming back to the points if those lines are too high when we get them tomorrow. All right, Camila Cardoso, 14.5 points. I'm going to lean under. She hasn't had good head-to-heads against this team. She hasn't been playing well in general. She doesn't have good hit rates at home or on the road. I'm just going to lean under, but I'm not going to play it because they could just feed her and she could have a monster game. But it's just hard to do that against Natasha Mack and Alyssa Thomas down low. So, like, Cardoso's a little sloppy sometimes. So I guess I'll lean under, but I don't firmly believe in that. All right, Kalia Copper, Azure is going to still be out. Kalia Copper, 22 points. I'm going to lean over. I'm assuming Kelsey Plum is not going to play in this game. If Kelsey Plum does play in this game, then I think the Sky get absolutely murdered, and that the Mercury get a big win here because I think Copper's going to put 20 plus. Like Alyssa Thomas might put up 20 plus. Plum might put up 20 plus herself if she plays, but I don't think she is going to play. So I'm going to lean over on Copper on 22.5. I'm going to not touch her rebounds or assists. Don't want to deal with that. And then Alyssa Thomas over 14.5. We already talked about this, so I won't talk about it again. But I'll just show you without Monika Komakani on the court. She is over in 80% of games. In away games, 100%. So I think that Alyssa Thomas over her points is a good play. Her assists, I think she could end up going over. The Sky right now are 5th in ranked against assists allowed. So they're top 5 in the league. She could go over though, because she does tend to go over in her away games, 62% of the time. And then her rebounds, same thing. Like she goes over in her away games, over the 7.5 rebounds, versus at home, 27% of the time, away 54% of the time. So if you just want to capture a full PRA for Alyssa Thomas, I don't hate that. 62% of the time in away games, she's over that line. I'm probably just going to play the points. Triple double is plus 550, so we used to be getting this at plus 1,000. You can get it at plus 800 on DraftKings. I don't mind a triple double look if you really think that Alyssa Thomas is going to have a good game. If Kelsey Plum's not going to play and Manika Komakani's out, I don't think it's horrible. I just would worry about her getting there on the rebounds. Okay. Dewana Bonner, I learned my lesson. I'm not going to fade her. She's had 2 good games in a row. She's been rebounding like a mad woman. She should have another good game in this one because she has a good matchup. Although head to head, she only had 8 and then 12 in the 2 head to heads. Taking 7 and 6 shots. She took 17 and 8 in these 2 most recent games. So I think if she takes 10 plus shots, then she's going to have a good game. Without Manika Koamakani, she's over 45% of the time. So her line is not as dramatically affected by Manika Koamakani not playing in this game. But yeah, I'm going to lean to the overs on Bonner. Dejanai has been interesting because since she's been back, even in her limited minutes, she's been super effective at getting herself to the free throw line. And so I kind of like her. Like, I might take a shot on her when her points line comes out. Natasha Cloud, I'd probably lean over on the assists here, but I'd probably pull it down and get just an alt line for that. And then Courtney Vandersloot, probably not playing. I'm continuing to stay off her until I see her play more than 25 minutes, like in a game. Like she needs to play 25 to 30 minutes before I'll touch anything from her lines. And then Koulibaly's been bugging me because she's been taking a few shots here and there, and it's been taking shot attempts away from Sydney Taylor, and so that's been annoying to me. And then Gabriela Jaquez, I would bank on her having a good game if we knew she was going to get the minutes, but she only played 4 freaking minutes in that last game. 13, 20, 15, 14. Like, we cannot count on her, unfortunately. Natasha Mack also has not been playing full minutes. She only played 12 minutes in that last game. And so I don't think we can bet anything on her as well. And that is it, you guys. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully you got some value out of it. Hopefully you have a great Monday. Hopefully you're having a good Sunday. I'm having a decent Sunday. And we will get back at this. I do not believe there's any games on Tuesday, but I will double check. If there are, we'll have a video, obviously. And if not, then we won't. It's as simple as that. Thanks, guys.